So, various local leaders started to focus on defending their land rather than relying on the central government for defense, hence beginning the process of independently recreating the Chinese system of feudalism. At this time, people would willingly farm on lands, giving up their freedom to these local leaders to protect them from the Vikings, creating the basis of a new system of feudalism. While the Holy Roman Empire might have been fighting with the Vikings and the Byzantines were fighting with the Arabs, in 820, a group of Arab raiders landed on the island of Crete. Over the next several years, Arab forces gradually gained control of the island, overcoming the resistance of the Byzantine defenders. In the Holy Roman Empire, once Louis the Pious died in 840 AD, so did the Charlemagne Empire. The infighting between family members grew, leading to the Holy Roman Empire being divided between three family members in the famous Treaty of Verdun. In the West, the formation of the West Frankish Kingdom was given to Charlemagne's grandson, Charles the Bald, in modern-day France. In the East Frankish Kingdom was given to another grandson, Louis the German, which was obviously settled in modern-day Germany, while the Middle Kingdom was given to Charlemagne's eldest son, Lothair. The Vikings weren't just a problem for mainland Europe, they were pillaging everything in mainland England. So in 871, the new king of Wessex, Alfred the Great, rose to power with one thing in mind: keeping everyone safe. Alfred built a network of fortifications known as burhs, designed to protect his people from Viking attacks. He also developed new military tactics and strategies and fostered alliances with other Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. Unlike in Great Britain, though, the Vikings were actually invited to Russia. According to Russian legend, the tribes in Russia were tired of dealing with political strife, so they invited the Varangians, a sect of Vikings, to establish order and a government over there. Hence, Rurik came with his two brothers to the city of Novgorod, and using the Vikings' famous force, they were able to establish order in the city, declaring Rurik as their new king, creating the Kievan Rus dynasty. Under the military leadership of Oleg, one of the Rurik kingsmen, the Kievan Rus started establishing Smolensk and Kiev in modern-day Ukraine, creating the forefront of Russia today. However, at this time, the typical person in Europe was always living in fear. Every civilization was on the verge of conquering. They've all become land-hungry and were willing to fight for it. So across Europe at this time, every civilization started to entrench their society in the ideas of feudalism, leading to another social pyramid. At the bottom lay the serfs. Their job was to farm the land and ensure everyone was fed. Then came the knight, who provided protection for the people. Then came the nobles, who ruled over a specific territory, owning the land. Then came the kings, as previously mentioned, who gave lands to the nobles. But all the way at the top was the Pope, because the Pope could speak directly to God and had God-given ownership of all the lands. In the early 11th century, Leif Erikson was sent on a voyage to discover lands west of Greenland. If you look at a map, west of Greenland is the Americas. So Leif and his crew ventured to this new mystical land called Vinland, in modern-day Newfoundland, Canada. Leif and his crew spent the winter in Vinland, establishing a small settlement and trading with the local indigenous people. They also explored the surrounding area, which they found rich in natural resources, including timber, fish, and game. Leif and his crew returned to Greenland in the spring, where they were greeted as heroes for discovering new lands. Little did Leif know that he discovered a new continent for his European people. Though significantly less is known about the Americas, some historians believe that at the time, a similar type of expansion happened in the American continent, like in Europe. Sadly, we just don't have the historical records from this unique period. We know that the Mayans down in South America were building the impressive cities of Tikal, Palenque, and Chichen Itza, having a population of anywhere between 2 and 10 million. We also know that there were various tribes across the north, including the Cherokee, the Navajo, and the Inuits. the Inuits are most likely to have interacted with Leif's fleet. But yet the Arabs of the Abbasid Caliphate would actually be expelled by another before Jerusalem. The Seljuk Turks, a Central Asian Turkic people of the Muslim faith, were beginning to grow their empire. In 1055, they took over the Abbasid Caliphate capital city of Baghdad. The Seljuk Turks initially respected the Caliph, but the Seljuks took over the city over time. In 1076, they captured Medina, followed the next year by the capturing of Mecca, the holiest city in Islam. Due to this, the Muslim world wasn't ready for Pope Urban II at the Council of Clermont in 1095 to call upon all Christians to take up arms and liberate the Holy Land from Muslim rule.